Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name's Kaylee and these are my books. Today is a video where I am reading booktubers' favorite books, and for this video I am featuring Kelsi from Slime and Slashers. This is actually an older series I had running on my channel. It used to be every month, and then I took a bit of a hiatus because I was having some issues scheduling some of these videos in, but it's back on the menu, everyone. I'm gonna start doing this every month again. And so for May, I'm featuring Kelsi as my selected booktuber to test out her favorite books because we are both on Team Film Crew for Escape the Readathon. If you're not already aware, Escape the Readathon is a month-long readathon happening in May. It is not too late to sign up. You can go ahead and sign up by checking out Lexi from Books with Lexi's announcement video, because this is a readathon created by Lexi. This is a readathon that supports reading any genre, so you don't just have to be a horror or thriller reader, but we are trapped in a haunted house, and through a combination of mood reading and reading for prompts, we are hoping to be the one team that is allowed to escape the haunted house, us being Team Film Crew, because I know if you're watching this and you haven't signed up for a team, you're gonna go and sign up for Team Film Crew, aren't you? Aren't you? But Kelsi and I are both co-hosts for Team Film Crew, so I thought it'd be really fun to read Kelsi's favorites, because also I feel like Kelsi has a really interesting taste in books. She primarily reads horror books, but she primarily reads older horror books actually. So she does a lot of mixture of reading what's popular on BookTube and reading some older stuff. So she has a lot of unique recommendations on her channel. So you should definitely go check out her channel. Her channel is linked in the description box below. But the two favorites that I selected for this video are Tastes Like Candy and Off Season. These are both horror books. Tastes Like Candy is a slasher in a carnival setting, and Off Season is a horror that maybe involves cannibalism in like an isolated cabin setting. I'm really excited for both of these, so I'm just gonna go ahead and cut to me reading the books. Hello, kind of a weird angle because I feel like I can't really move since Teddy is being so cute. I mean, look at him. Oh, Teddy, so cute. So cute. Okay, I'm sorry. But I am checking in because I am 25% of the way through Tastes Like Candy, and I'm really enjoying it so far, even though technically like no horror has happened. I just really like the setup of this book. So basically this is a book that followed, oh, look at him. So cute. So cute. Look at him. Okay. Oh, look at those teeth. Look at those teeth. Oh, Teddy. Okay. But this is a slasher book that is feeling a lot like a B horror movie in the best way possible. So basically the setup so far is basically, oh my god, how many times can I say basically? Apologies. But we are following a group of friends who are all seniors in high school, and this is a very competitive group of friends. They're all people that are excelling in whatever they do, whether that is computer programming, violin, influencing on like Instagram and stuff. Like, these are all very smart women or teenagers. And they have all been selected as the school tradition senior scavenger hunt, where they select like the it girls, the last year seniors select the new seniors to do this scavenger hunt. And this is the group that was selected, and they have to go to this carnival after hours and get an item based off of a riddle on a postcard that they all received. We're just hanging out with them right now, this group of girls, getting to know them all. But the thing that I'm loving about it is already all of these characters feel distinct to me. I like all of their different personalities, and I care about them. And none of them are perfect characters either. So while it feels like a B movie in that it's like a group of teenage girls going to an abandoned carnival for a slasher, the characters are more dynamic than you would expect. Like, there is no cartoonish like jock, nerd, popular girl, you know? All of these characters are complex. All of these characters have issues. All of these characters are likable in some ways and unlikable in other ways. And therefore, I care about them in the way that they feel like real people to me. And there's some humor so far too. Like, one of these characters is an influencer, and it's just kind of funny seeing how she goes about her life being an influencer and all of the silly things that she does to get all of her millions of followers to like her. I just already like the plot so much because of these characters, and the slashing hasn't even started. So it's kind of crazy that I already like this book so much when it is technically pretty slow moving thus far. I'm like 70 pages in. So I'm going to check in when I get to the 50% mark and let you know what I'm thinking so far. But honestly, this feels like it could be 5 stars. I'm having a great time and I can't wait to continue reading, so much so that I almost didn't want to do this check-in because I just wanted to keep reading. But this is exciting too because it fits for one of the harder prompts that my team has. So I think, and I'm being vague because I don't want to give everything away, but like this book is already planned to have been read, but the timing works out where I think it's going to help my team film crew out too. So that is nice. All right, I'll check in a bit once I'm at the 50% mark. Hello, I'm in my kitchen because I'm currently trying to decide on a late night snack. It's like 10:30 right now, but I'm hungry. I only had one meal today at 4:30 because it was like a late meal. Long story short, I'm hungry for dinner at 10:30 because I ate lunch super late. I figured I would check in though because I just noticed I'm at 55% of Tastes Like Candy. I want to clarify too, this book is on Kindle Unlimited, so I'm reading the ebook with my eyes. I don't have an audiobook to go with it, but I'm loving it so much. Shit has really hit the fan in these last like 25%. Shit has hit the fan. We are fully in it right now. The slashing has begun, and I think I know what's going on, but I'm not mad about it if I do know what's going on, because I like what's going on if that is what's going on. And I don't think it's setting it up to be a big twist at the end, but because they've already kind of hinted about it too many times for it to be a big twist. So I like that if you pay attention to the clues, you kind of can see what's happening and you might have more knowledge than its current characters. So I am really happy with this book. I'm still loving it. One thing I wanted to mention too that I forgot to mention in the first check-in is a lot of this book, well, all of this book takes place in Texas, but a lot of this book has very specific Texas references that I relate to based off of where I live in Texas. And so that was just fun to see because it's basically taking place in like where I currently live in Texas. And this book has some mixed media too. We have a bunch of different point of views, but also we have like text messages being sprinkled throughout too. And I love when a book plays with mixed media. So basically this book is really checking all the boxes. The kills are crazy so far. Like those kills are so horrific in the best way possible. This is so entertaining, so bingeable, and I'm not gonna be able to go to sleep tonight until I finish this book. But I need some fuel. I need a late night snack. That cereal behind me is looking pretty good, but I think I'm actually gonna go for a tried and true favorite of just a cup of noodles, some instant ramen. But I'm gonna make that and I will check in when I'm about 75% of the way through. It's pretty late right now. It's like 1:30 in the morning. I just finished the book. I was supposed to check in one more time before I finished the book, but I couldn't stop reading. I'm sorry. It was so good. 5 stars. I'm going to bed though. I'll tell you more about it in the morning, but I just needed to let you guys know. I read it basically in one sitting besides like the first 20-ish pages. Fantastic. So gory. I think I'm gonna have really weird dreams right now, but I do not regret my actions because it was incredible. So I'll give you some more thoughts in the morning, but for now, I'm going to sleep. Hello, it is the next morning. I woke up maybe like 2 hours ago at this point, and so I need to update you a little bit more about Tastes Like Candy because I was just too tired to give a more extensive final review and rating. And then I also need to let you know about off-season because I am about like 35% of the way through, maybe 40%, I can't tell exactly. I'm listening on Audible, and Audible doesn't tell you the percentage, which is so annoying. But either way, I'm like somewhere around 35 or 40%. So for Tastes Like Candy, I had such a fun time with it. It's a 5-star book for me. I really loved the equal part of setting up the characters with like the slow beginning and then flashbacks throughout all the action scenes, paired with the gruesome, gory action of the slashings themselves. The kills were so crazy and so creative. They were just fun. It was so fun. And even though there were like quite a few characters, I think there were like 5 or 6 girls, and typically like I feel like a group of 6 girls that are all the same age would maybe be a little bit difficult to distinguish between. I could tell them apart so easily because of the slow start and the flashbacks we got, which made me care about each of the characters, which therefore made the kills mean so much more to me. And again, like, I don't think it was boring at all. I could see someone that is just wanting slashing action to be bored by those scenes, but I feel like those scenes is what made the slasher action so good. So I loved this book. Kelsi gave me a great freaking rec 'cause it was awesome. And it counts as the prompt that my team has less books submitted for based on our emoji poll right now. So that's perfect, just in case that's the prompt we need to submit books for. And basically, It Tastes Like Candy is awesome. I highly recommend it to anyone who likes slashers, and it's totally going on like my list of new favorite slashers because I had an amazing time. I specifically recommend it if you liked Cirque Berserk, because Cirque Berserk and Tastes Like Candy have some similar settings, some similar character dynamics, just in terms of like you get to know the characters a little bit, and then similar creative kills, which I know Kelsi doesn't like Cirque Berserk as much, but in my opinion, Cirque Berserk and Tastes Like Candy both have awesome kills in them. Oh, and I did pretty much know what was going on when I said that in an earlier check-in. However, me knowing what was going on did not take away from my enjoyment of the book. So even though I kind of guessed the twist or whatever you want to call it, I don't care. It's still a 5-star read for me. It was still super enjoyable. And I actually liked that you could guess the twist if you paid attention to the clues, because I like when a twist is set up in the book. Moving on to off-season, like I said, I started it this morning. I'm only listening to the audio. I don't have a physical book for this, so Tastes Like Candy I only read with my eyes. Off-season I'm only reading with my ears. And so far it's okay. I have a lot of mixed feelings about it. My arm is getting super tired from holding you guys up, so I think I'm gonna shift where I'm standing right now so I can put you down on something, so give me 1 second. Okay, now you're resting on my bookshelf, and this is way nicer for my arms. My arms are weak. I can't hold my phone for that long. But anyways, off season, I have some mixed feelings about it right now. I am liking it, however. I am liking it, but I have a lot of like mixed feelings, and so I have no idea how the rest of the book is going to go and what my final rating could be. I really feel like this book still has the potential to be like anywhere from a 1-star to a 5-star. It's all up in the air. So what I'm liking about this book, I love the setting for this book. The setting is a mixture of a small town and a cabin. Let me give you the quick synopsis so far of what's been going on. So basically, this is a book set in a small town where, like the title implies, this is a town that gets most of their business done in the summer months, and there's an off season once it starts to get cold there. And in the off season, this small town has way less people than they're used to having, just the locals, no tourism, and a lot of the locals are kind of weird, so a lot of the town just shuts down and is just kind of uncomfortable to be in the off season. There's a lot of lore in this small town about people going missing, especially on boats in the area, at a much higher rate than is normal, especially for their small population. There's a lot of ghost stories around this town. We are following quite a few different point of views. We are following one girl who is alone in a cabin there. We are following a group of friends who is traveling there. We are following a police officer in the town, and we are following a mystery point of view of someone like watching the girl alone in her cabin, and it's really creepy. And there's like, I think been a couple other point of views spliced into, but the point of view where we're following the group of people traveling to the town, we also are kind of switching between all of their different point of views, and it's about a group of like 5 or 6 people. So it is quite a few point of views. This is very much a book that feels like zoomed out on this small town, not necessarily about like one individual person's experience. And so basically, I think the book is building up to some like group of horrible people living in the woods in the small town, threatening the people that are there in their off season. Positives I'm having with this book so far. Love the setting. I love the creepy point of view of the person watching the woman in the cabin. I actually am enjoying the police officer's point of view too, which is odd because typically I feel like I get really annoyed with police officers' point of views. But in this case, I feel like it's grounding me a little bit more and giving us, like, his point of view is where we're getting a lot of the lore information and the history of the town. And it's actually interesting, this lore and history, because it's so creepy about these missing people. And so I think I like his point of view simply because that's where this knowledge is being given to us. So a lot of potential so far. However, I am experiencing a lot of negatives with the book too. This is a book, and I knew this going in, and it's still bothering me. It just is so hit or miss on when this bothers me and when I can look past it. But this is a book that is so clearly written by a man. Like, this is a book where every female character is going to have their boobs described. Like,
it's not necessary information, and yet every time a female character is not only introduced, but every time we switch to a different point of view where we re-see that female character, we're going to get another explanation about what their boobs look like in their shirt at that time and how their boobs are moving as they are walking and stuff like that. And it's just annoying me. It's like almost like a meme at this point, you know? It's like, how many times can this author describe boobs in the story when it's not necessary at all for the plot? Like, if I took a shot every time boobs were described, I'd be dead. I'd be dead an hour ago. And so again, like, it's just like, it's unfortunately something you kind of have to put up with a lot of male authored horror and male authored fantasy. And sometimes it bothers me and sometimes it doesn't. And in this book, it is bothering me a little bit. Not to the point where I'm disliking the book, but it is impacting my enjoyment of the book a bit. And then another thing that I wish this book was doing, I wish we were focused more in on one individual experience in this small town instead of having this big group of people. Like, I get why we're following a big group of people because I think it's going to be leading up to like a more slashery like final section of a bunch of people, you know, dying and stuff. I have no idea. That's just what I'm assuming is going to happen with this big group. But I feel like I would be more freaked out and more tense if we were just following one person staying in a cabin and like experiencing being watched and being stalked and stuff like that. So when we're zoomed out on this bigger group of people that are all going to be in this cabin, I feel like I'm caring a bit less because we're also not getting a ton of background information about these people. Like, Tastes Like Candy was following a big group of people, but it did such a good job with telling us about all of these people as individuals. Where in this case, I feel like this group of people is really like a group of people. Their individual qualities aren't as clear to me, aren't as defined to me, and they only exist as they exist in the group. They don't exist for me as individuals. I hope that makes sense. But it means that anytime we're switching to different point of views of the different people in the group, it's so hard for me to keep track of who is who. It's so hard for me to like even care that we're switching these different point of views and they're all like their little annoyances and stuff because like they're all just blurry to me. So I wish the group was just like one person or maybe like one couple would be okay too. I'm afraid that when the action starts happening, it's not going to hit as hard because I don't have any like care about these characters. I don't need to like the characters, but I feel like I need to be interested in what happens to them. And at this point, I'm not interested in what happens to them. So fingers crossed that changes. Fingers crossed as I keep reading, they do get a bit more defined and less blurry for me. And I come to appreciate them as individuals and not just pieces of a group. And I hope we get a lot more interesting lore about what's going on with the missing people in this town because that is super intriguing to me. So I will check in when I'm around like 70-ish% and let you know if my thoughts have changed or not. But I just wanted to check in now since I have so many mixed feelings about it. Hello and welcome to a new segment called Let's Make Slime, meant for children, while also talking about horrific cannibalism horror. I bought this specifically for this video because Kelsi, her channel name is Slime and Slashers. We've got the slasher in with Tastes Like Candy. We had to get the slime in, and we're using this fairy dust slime kit. And while I'm making this fairy dust slime, I will be discussing my thoughts so far on off-season because I am 80% of the way through. Oh, it's taped. Gosh dang it. You like the slime too? You're gonna help? You're gonna help? Can we use this pen to pierce it? I mean, I could just get up and get scissors, but nah, we got this. We got this. Okay, Teddy thinks this is for him. So we have this beautiful pink glitter glue. You wanna see it? And this beautiful purple glitter glue. You wanna see it? He's gonna be so confused when I'm making this slime. And then we also have this magic liquid to make the slime. I promise I'm going to talk about book 2. But first, I'm gonna go get some bowls and measuring spoons so that we can make slime. All right, I got some bowls. I got this bowl in this bowl. They're not the same size. I couldn't find two of the same size bowls that were currently clean, and I did not feel like washing any sort of dish for this video. I'm sorry. Same energy. I found my teaspoon measuring spoon and a half teaspoon. The tablespoon and the half tablespoon are currently dirty too, and I didn't feel like washing them either. So hopefully this will suffice. I'm gonna use the smaller bowl first too, because the bigger bowl intimidates me a little bit. Like, how much slime does it think I'm gonna make? Like, I'm not gonna live up to the expectations of the bowl. So instead we're gonna do the small bowl. So we gotta dump this all out and make sure this little baby boy doesn't eat any of it. No glue for you. This brings me back. Does it give you any memories? Brings me back to elementary school when that one kid next to me used to like cover his hands in glue, and then he would be like, psst, and I'd look up and be like, what do you want, Jacob? And he would just show his hands being covered in glue and be like, isn't that cool? And I'm like, it's kinda cool. I feel like I'm an ASMR channel now. Is this sound soothing to you? Does it give you the heebie-jeebies? Is that what it's called? No. The shivers? Is that what they call it? The goosebumps? I don't know. ASMR people, let me know down in the comments. Am I giving you anything? Me being 80% into off season, it's kind of lost me, which is a bummer. All of the issues that were present when I first checked in are still there, but they're just heightened. So all of my issues with too many point of views and not caring about any single person and therefore being worried about the action not hitting has come true. And also the men just piss me off. And of course, a lot of the violence is centered on the women. And then it just kind of reminds me, like, there's one scene that reminded me a lot of Night of the Living Dead, that movie that was made in the 60s, and I actually teach that movie in my Gothic literature course. Like, of course, it's made in the 60s. There's certain things that you are okay with happening in that movie, with the whole damsel in distress being such a heightened thing in the movie, and like the men being the only active characters. But then reading it in off season, you're like, oh, okay, you couldn't have done anything more creative. Like, come on. Here's all my glue in the bowl. Very gluey. Basically, first issue is the characters. Second issue is the randomness. I want more lore. I feel like we got given some lore at the beginning with the cops' point of view, and then we got given no more lore. They were like, you've had enough. You got a little hint, and we're done telling you anything that might point to a single reason why this is happening. And you know, that's me being a little bit dramatic, but really I just have an issue with, like, it just seems so random to me. This is so out there, and don't get me wrong, I love a plot that's out there, okay? I love an unhinged plot. Like, I'm only saying I want there to be more books with surprise cannibalism twists. If you've seen the movie Fresh, that's the kind of thing I want to happen. Like, I want a book to seem like it's a rom-com, and then surprise, he's a cannibal. Oh no, it's horror now. Like, that's fun. I love when, like, books play with genre expectations. I love when a book takes a left field out of nowhere. But this book, it's just like, it's too, I don't know, it's not even too out there. Like, it's crazy, it's kind of crazy, you know, but like, it's not anything that's like so much more insane than other things that I've read. But I guess my issue is it just feels like there wasn't enough care taken with the thing being what's going on being so out there. It's like the author just wants how wild the story is to be enough of a thrill. And for me, it's not enough. I would appreciate how wild it was more if we got a little bit more with the characters, a little bit more with the logic. So I guess it's a world building issue, which feels weird to complain about for a horror book. But I mean, this horror book kind of goes in a fantasy direction where it's like you have to imagine this fantasy world happening for this thing to be true. And I don't mean that it's magical. It's not magical, but it's just so out there that it needs some fantasy world building to support how out there it goes for me to care about the book and still be invested in the story as a story, where right now the book just feels too much like a horror book and not enough like I'm being immersed in a story. Like, it's very clear that I'm reading a book and I'm never getting immersed in the book. The whole time I am completely aware that I am reading a book. I hope that makes sense. I just added 2 teaspoons of the activator and I'm stirring it with the teaspoon because I didn't bring a mixing tool. And then the whole issue with women's boobs never stops happening. Literally, this could kill a small army if everyone did a tag team effect of taking a shot anytime boobs were unnecessarily mentioned. It could probably take out like at least 100 people. So don't play that party game. That's a danger game. But yeah, and it does have an isolated setting, right? So like on paper, this book should be so creepy, so stressful because these people are stuck in a house while terrible stuff is going on around the house and it's isolated to them being in this cabin. And yet I felt nothing. I felt not a single thing when I was reading this. So I think this book could have been really successful for me if it more so had a lot of tension to lead up to the main action. Instead, I feel like we missed too many steps in between. I feel like it went from 0 to 100. And I wanted to go from 0 to 20 to 40 to 60 to 80. Like, I wanted more scenes of the group being in the cabin and then, like, they hear a noise and they're like, what the heck was that? And then it's like, oh, it's just a mouse, no big deal. Like, I wanted a lot of those lead-up scenes where we're like, is something happening? Is something not happening? Like, I don't know. Are they imagining it? Are they not imagining it? And then we lead up to the big event that goes on in this book. And then I feel like the book would have earned it. But instead, it's like these people get here and then immediately it's like, boom, big event, and then it doesn't stop. But it does kind of stop because you stop caring about it. And therefore, none of the action, none of the crazy stuff that's going on, you even feel anything about. I'm not done with this book. I know I'm talking about this book like I'm done with it. I kind of want a DNF, but I will just finish it out. But I'm like a little bit over 80% of the way through. And it really just feels like I know exactly where it's going, and I don't think it's going to be able to save itself. I think it's going to be 2 stars. I'll wait to like give my final rating until, of course, I finished reading it, but it's just my thoughts so far. Okay, I'm going to try kneading it. This could be a big mistake. Feels a little bit more solid, and it said you have to knead it. Oh no. Oh God. I shouldn't have put my hand in. Look at this. Ew. You know, this is something that's made for children, and yet I'm struggling to make it correct consistency because I don't think it's supposed to stick to your hand like this. Oh my God. We've come full circle. I am the weird kid at the elementary school desk. I really don't like this. Kelsi, does this make you proud? Have I made slime? I feel like I haven't made slime. I've just made gloop. It's not slimy. It's like, well, it is slimy, but it's too liquidy. It's not solid form enough. Let's add more. I just added kind of a lot, but we got to get the show on the road. There's only so much complaining I can do about my friend's favorite book, you know? It's getting hard to mix. It's definitely more solid now, I think, but it still is so sticky. Like, it's not easy to just to move around with your hand. It's getting stuck on everything. Okay, it did say to knead with 2 hands though. It was very specific in its directions that you had to use 2 hands to knead it, not the single hand. And so far I've only been doing the single hand. Do I sacrifice this hand too? Teddy just went in his kennel. He's gone. He did not like the slime at all. I thought he would try to eat it. Oh, he just came back when I said his name. Come here. I'm not doing anything weird, I promise. Is this how you knead slime? Oh, feels kind of weird. Kind of feels good though. Kind of feels good. Look, that's looking more slimy now. Look at this. Look at this kneading action. Do you hear this sound it's making? Like he came back. He came back because I called him out for being a scared little boy. He was embarrassed. I mean, is it completely stuck to my hands now? Yes. I didn't know slime was supposed to stick to you. Because look. It's, oh no. Let me do this up close so you can see the slime better. Oh, this feels like a weird video I shouldn't be making. I don't know about this close-up. It's so stuck though. Oh God. Feels like I'm kneading the crap out of the slime. Is this how everyone is when they play with slime? It just gets everywhere. If you're a mom and you have kids right now with how popular slime is, dude, you're going through it, aren't you? Look at this. It's so sticky. You must have to deal with constant messes everywhere. If you want to be like a nice mom and get your kids slime, you get punished. Because this is horrible. I'm like a slime monster right now. It's like, let's try to like get a clean hand, right? This is the best I could do right now. It's probably getting on your furniture. It's probably getting in the clothes. It's probably getting on the kids' faces and hair. You hear those noises? But do you see this? Oh God. So I'm gonna put it actually just in here. Oh, this is like a nightmare right now. I actually hate this. Get off of me. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. Okay. I'm going to try to breathe through the stress of my fingers being like this right now. And I'm going to move these to be in this box a little bit. And we're just going to put this other purple glue in this bowl. And we're gonna add like a crap ton of activator stuff that's supposed to make it hard and slimy and not as sticky gluey right away. And we're gonna see if that fixes anything. I guess while I'm doing this, I can talk a little bit more about Kelsi's channel. Because I'm doing this for Kelsi and I never really explained why beyond just the fact that her channel name is Slime and Slashers. But Kelsi reads a ton of horror, hence why her favorites in this video are horror book favorites. But Kelsi also does a ton of stuff with nostalgia and the 90s and stuff like that. So that's why slime is a big part of her channel too. Well, I wouldn't say big part, like it's not like slime is in all her videos or anything like that. Ooh, sorry, I was like kind of flipping you guys off there. But just, it's why that it's in her channel name because of Nickelodeon slime in the 90s. And she runs a couple of different readathons around the year. One of them being Old School April, which is all nostalgia based. And she reads a ton. This is the activator. I'm supposed to only add 2 teaspoons. I'm not following it. I'm adding a crap ton. She reads a ton of old horror. Not old, like classics old. She reads like a ton of like 80s and 90s horror. So like think like paperbacks from Hell Grady Hendrix. That's kind of Kelsi's vibe. She reads newer stuff too, don't get me wrong. But she just has a ton of expertise in older horror stuff. And I just think it's super unique for booktube, and I think Kelsi's channel has a lot of recommendations on it that you wouldn't really find at a lot of other places. So if you're interested in horror, if you're interested in hearing like a new perspective on horror, and hearing about horror books that you might not normally hear about on most other horror channels, Kelsi is a great channel to check out. I don't think adding this much activator, I think maybe Maybe there is a reason why it said to do 2 tablespoons at a time. Something's wrong with this. It's just like a glob. It's not even slimified. It's almost like cottage cheese right now feeling. Like if cottage cheese had been left out for a while and it was kind of solid, that's the texture that I'm currently experiencing. Lots of little chunks in here. Not really one solid thing that I'm holding. It really feels like an amalgamation of many little things that I'm holding. Okay, I can feel it's maybe starting, maybe the kneading technique is bringing it back. If I like put it around my thumb, doesn't that kind of look like I'm making cotton candy? And then it's reminding me of a cotton candy machine scene in Tastes Like Candy. I don't think this is doing anything. I think this is actually quite a bit worse than last time in terms of how much I don't want this to be on my hands right now. You can kind of see the situation. It's not coming off really. It's very stuck. It's very gloopy. It's the kind of feeling on your hand that makes you feel incredibly claustrophobic too. I think this children's toy could also probably be marketed as some sort of horror torture technique, just with how uncomfortable I am not being able to have full use of my fingers currently, and how disgusted I am at the fact that I'm gonna have to like turn the knob on my sink when my hands look like this. And like, can this even go down the drain? I don't want to call the maintenance guy to help unclog the drain. And he opens it and it's purple glitter slime in there. Do you know how embarrassing that would be as a 26-year-old woman? I wonder what the kid next to me in elementary school would do to get this off of his hands. I actually do remember his technique. He would have all the glue on his hands and then he would go like this. And it would peel off after he would rub his hands all together. For me, I've got to say that's not what I'm experiencing. I'm actually experiencing what I think is a similar sensation when a fly gets caught in a spider web, of my hands actually just being cocooned and lots of little strings. And I'm losing even more mobility in my fingers than I previously had. So I think that kid in elementary school really didn't help me out at all. And I am blaming you, Jacob, if you see this, for that. Because what the hell? I'm in a worse position than when I started. Let me try to like do a quick snapping technique to get it off. I just got it on my book. Quick snap, okay? But then, see, here's the issue. You quick snap it off with one hand, and okay, you got it on this hand. Now what? You quick snap it off? Okay, it's on this hand. Now what? It's an endless loop. Am I done being so extra? No. But am I done with this clip? Yes. I will check in when I finish off season, which is gonna be within the hour. I'll do a more official outro. I'll get slime free. Hopefully one day I will be slime free. And I'll let you know what I thought. But I can tell you now, it's not good thoughts. I want you guys to know that it's been hours and Teddy is still hiding under the bed. You can come out. The slime isn't gonna get you. I'm sorry that you're afraid of the slime. There's no more slime. I threw it all away. I threw it away. He could just sense how disgusted I was, and he's like, I better go hide under the bed so the slime doesn't get on me too. Hello, we're back. I still feel the glue on my hands, and I've washed my hands probably 5 times now, probably. And I think I've used like scalding hot water too, and it's just not coming off. Like every time I go like this with my hands, I feel grit. So was this a smart decision to make slime? Let me hear a hell no. Hell no. But
I had a lot of fun with this video. You're here at the end of the video because I did finish off season. I unfortunately did not have a lot of fun with off season specifically. I am giving it 2 stars though, not a 1 star or anything, because I do really like the beginning part of it. I was really enjoying the lead up to it. It's just really once everything started happening, I stopped enjoying it as much. And so it's getting a 2 star. Because of basically everything I said in the last check-in, I feel like I have nothing else to say. I will say I listened to a bit of the afterword because it just automatically started playing on Audible. And the afterword I found really obnoxious, not gonna lie, and I was like, yeah, you are the author that wrote about many women's boobs in this horror book that the boobs had nothing to do with, huh? I could tell. I could tell. So I don't think I'm going to be picking up anything else by Jack Ketchum. I don't think he's an author for me. But I also see why Kelsi likes him. Like, I know I'm kind of roasting him kind of hard. I'm sorry, Kelsi. I'm sorry I'm roasting your favorite book, but I think if you don't need to care about the characters, you could like this for the plot. I think for me to not care about the characters, I needed a little bit more like dynamic things going on in the plot instead of just kind of like the same repetition of the same crazy things. Like, I never thought I would say this, but here I am saying that maybe the cannibalism was a little bit too much. Maybe the cannibalism got a little bit too repetitive and it lost its edge. You know, after cannibalism has been normalized in this book too many times, it kind of loses the cannibalism flair. I know I'm being a little bit silly here, but I'm trying to talk about the action and the main stuff that was going on in the least spoilerly way possible. And, you know, that's really the essence of what I mean is after you've read about this intense horrific stuff a couple of times, we need a bit more diversity in the horrors that are going on. Otherwise you get bored, and I got bored because I didn't have the characters to grip hold of. So as soon as the plot got a little bit repetitive with what was going on, I lost interest entirely. So a strong start, lost me a bit in the middle, and then completely lost me by the end. But again, I can see why this book would thoroughly entertain someone too. It's just my preferences of what I find entertaining were not met with this novel. On the other hand though, Kelsi knocked it out of the park with Tastes Like Candy because Tastes Like Candy was so good. I'm still thinking about it and it's been a couple of days since I finished Tastes Like Candy. Tastes Like Candy was so much fun and I'm totally like recommending that to everyone if you want to read a fun slasher. Tastes Like Candy is like just like everything that I love about a slasher all in one book. I thought it was so freaking fun and it really put me back in a mood to read a ton of other slashers because Tastes Like Candy was just such a freaking fun experience. And see, here's an example of what I mean where, yeah, there's a lot of action in Tastes Like Candy because it is a slasher, of course, you know, but each kill was different and unique and therefore interesting to read about, where I didn't feel that way about Off Season. So to recap, I read Tastes Like Candy, which fit film crew's prompt of read a debut novel because I looked on Goodreads and this is the author's earliest published novel on Goodreads. And then I read Off Season, which fit for the film crew's prompt of reading a book without the, of, and, or in the title. So I got 1 book for each prompt with this video, which is perfect. It's like Kelsi's favorites knew that she had help out Team Film Crew. So I'm hoping our door opens really soon and that we can move on back to mood reading. But in conclusion, Kelsi is great. Escape the Readathon is great. Lexi is great. Check out all 3 of these people and readathons in the description box below. I feel like I have some really weird energy right now, so I better just go ahead and end this. If you liked the video, please like the video and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you next time. Bye!